Good evening. Welcome back to Hartman Speaks. This week we have a guest with us, and I'm going to let her introduce herself. Hi there. Welcome to Hartman Speaks.
My name is Molly Ridgway Anderson.
Here we go.
I live here in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Great. Let's see. How you doing this evening?
I am so excited to be here with you. Thank you so much for having me. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you, and I'm glad to have you here as well. She has a better voice than mine do. It's mechanical. That kills me. Could you explain your difference to us?
I have a nonverbal disability in which I cannot talk. It is called apraxia. Apraxia can come in various forms like any other disability. When I was born, I could not breathe. It is believed that caused the nerves in my brain and my mouth to not have communication. It has never stopped me from talking to the power of in different ways, like using assistive technology or using sign language. Most of my closest friends think I am the loudest person they have ever met, and I cannot even verbally talk.
That's funny. Did you attend regular schools? And if so, how did the students react to you? And how did you respond to them? Did you tie them up in the closet? No. Okay.
In elementary school, I was pulled out for speech class. Other than that, I was mainstreamed and had regular education classes with all kinds of students. I also had an interpreter. In middle and high school, I used my phone to communicate with my teachers. In elementary school, it was easier to make friends. Like a typical student, middle school and high school were the hardest times to make friends.
Okay. I'll do follow up later. What types of modifications did teachers use to help you? And was college different?
Reading and English were my hardest subjects because it was hard for me to process. I cannot verbally say the word. When you are learning how to read, it is important for you to sound out words. Well, I had to sound out words in my head. My mom used to buy me books on tape so that I could hear the sounds while reading them. This accommodation helped me learn how to read. In school, I would have major test anxiety. I failed my driver's test 3 times because I was too anxious, not because I was a bad driver. I normally had extra time if I needed it. For the act and college, I had extra time taking tests and a separate room to take the test in. I have a child development degree from Maryville College, and I am currently working on a political management master's degree from the George Washington University.
Wow. That's great. Tell me about your family. And how did you meet your husband? How did the two of you communicate? And do your parents and siblings, how do you communicate with them?
Yes, I am married. I will go into a little background before I explain how we met each other. Are you ready for a tearjerker? Being a typical teenager and freshman in college, I was pretty sure I was not going to get married at all. I remember one night on a vacation the summer before I started college, I remember saying no one will ever love me. My friend said, yes, someone will. When I went off to college, my dad prayed for someone to be my friend, and somehow I ended up with a husband. Josh was at Pellissippi State Community College at the time, and I was at Maryville College. I remember not wanting to go to this Christian event, but a friend encouraged me to go. We meet at a Christian conference with some local college students. He claims he fell in love with me the first time he saw me sign a song. He had some deaf family members, so it was natural for him. When we started dating, he learned sign language from me on his own initiative. I mostly sign to him while he talks back. However, when we are in the car and he is driving, I use Bluetooth and text-to-speech with my Apple phone.
Right.
My parents and siblings growing up all knew sign. As I grew older, I used my phone to communicate. And what activities were you active as a youth? As an adult?
Wow. So you were hoping for a friend and you wound up getting married. So your dad prayed too hard is what you're telling me. Okay. Let that be a lesson to you, dads. I have kids of my own, and if they move out, that's good. Other than that, I'm not sure. I won't let them figure the rest of it out. And your husband learned sign on his own initiative. So he's a very nice man. Don't be fooled, he's in law school. He just didn't want to let you get away, did he? That's really great. All right. So what activities were you active in as an adult, youth or as an adult? And how did your ability to speak affect your activities?
My parents were very adamant that I be involved with sports and other things in the community. I came to Maryville College to run cross country. I still am very active today. The only minor problem I have is meeting people. Most people think I am deaf. I can hear fine. I just cannot talk. I have come to terms with the fact that I cannot change people's assumption, but it's how I react that counts.
Right.
If I get mad, it will not help the situation.
And I can imagine that, people make assumptions very quickly about all of us, right? And that's a big problem. After they realize it, you point out that you didn't think I could hear you. Has anyone ever said something stupid about you thinking you could? Really? I think that's really funny. Yeah, and you walked up and went, I can hear you, Doug. I think that's funny. How did your disability affect your core beliefs?
I believe that I was made for a purpose. Everyone is made for a purpose. I was made with challenges that are seen. Everyone has challenges either unseen or visible. I believe my purpose in this world is to encourage people with disabilities to meet their fullest potential and be successful to their standards.
Okay. How are you going to help them do that? Oh, did I wing a new question? Yes, I did. I asked beforehand if I could ask some extra questions. I'm trying not to be cruel.
I am going to help them with job and life skills.
Okay. That's great. That's really great. Okay. What events in your life have most shaped your life?
At a young age, I was Miss Independent. This is why my parents and I had several disagreements in high school. I do not like asking for help, period. Transitioning to college is hard within itself, and with a disability it was even harder. Well, keep in mind that my home is about 5 hours away from Maryville College. At the time, I was a freshman in college. Innocently decides to go to Walmart alone at 9 o'clock at night. I learned my mistake. Do not go to Walmart at night by yourself, especially if you don't charge your phone. Anyways, everything was going smoothly until I get all my groceries in the car. My phone is almost dead. I opened my car door and sat in my car. I tried to turn on my car. My car battery decided to die as well. So I decided to text my parents. This was a bad idea because my parents went into panic mode because they are 5 hours away and couldn't help me. They were helpless and waiting on the other end, nervous and afraid. I walked into Walmart. I made the I need to write signal to the power of so I could communicate with the cashiers. I wrote down, can I please have a phone charger? Could you please help me jump my car? Thankfully, the Walmart employees helped me jump my car and charge my phone. Transiting to college is hard in general. Falling in love was also a challenge because Josh would interpret for me and it would make me uncomfortable because I do not like having help. Now, I am okay with asking him for help. He calls himself the 24/7 interpreter.
That's a great story. I don't know how I would have gotten out of that one, so that's really a good story. And it was nice that they were very helpful, right? So now you go to Walmart all the time, right? Yeah, there you go. Very good. That's really good. I think we've all found ourselves in situations like that at one time or another. And that's where you find out if you're independent or not, right? Well, good for you. That's a great story. Okay, what are some ambitions you still hope to achieve?
My ambitions are to help people with disabilities and be an advocate for them as well. I really want to become a disability lobbyist. I want to advocate for people with disabilities in third world countries. I also want to grow a motivational speaking business where I go around talking to people about disabilities and trying to encourage them as well.
Great. That's great. Do you have a website or an email address where they could contact you if they wanted you to speak?
My email address is mollyridgway@gmail.com.
Okay, great. So they can email you if they want you to speak and be willing to pay you at least $7 million, right? You remember I get 35%, right? Okay, great. I'm just kidding. All right, now I'm going to ask you a couple philosophical questions. Do you consider yourself a disabled person or a person with differences?
I prefer different because if you break the word disabled apart, it means not able.
Right.
I am very capable of a lot of things like running, being independent, being married, and having a job. I just may communicate differently, but I do reach the same result.
Right. I'm envious of your fingers. When I try to count points, I always go, first there's this, and then there's this, and now I'm finished. You can go home now. And I can never make more than 2 points. That's really terrific. I feel the same way, and I'm also aware of the discussion in the disability community where they want all of us to relate with one another and with one each other. And I do agree with that. But on the other hand, like you, I'm fiercely independent. And I do what I need to do, right? If I need help, just like you, I can ask for it. But I try not to live needing help. I try to do just like you do. And so if you are able to live without getting a lot of assistance, and I know some people need that, and I recognize that, but I, thank God, don't. And so why would I call myself disabled? I agree. And so I hope people in the community will understand. I'm not insulting anybody. If you need help, good, get it. I'm all for it, and I think you are too. So I think it's good that we have this discussion. All right. What one thing do you want this audience to understand about you?
I am a very positive person. With my disability, there has been some not so good things.
Sure.
But there has been wonderful things about being different too. There's a positive outcome of every situation in life. It's more important to focus on the positive, in my opinion.
It certainly frees you up to do a lot more, doesn't it? If you worry about what you can't do too much, there will be more and more things you can't do. I agree with that. Thank you. Okay. Do you ever share your story with audiences? And give a quick example. How do you do that?
I feel like stories always capture your audience. I am about to tell you a story about how much my parents treated my siblings, and are the same.
Okay.
I am the oldest of 4 kids. I have 2 brothers and 1 sister. I grew up in Florence, Alabama, which is just 20 minutes from Helen Keller's home.
Wow.
Helen Keller is a famous deafblind person who overcame her struggles and was the first to graduate from college with a deafblind disability. Every June in my hometown area, there is a festival to honor Helen Keller and to recognize a person with a disability.
Right.
Well, in 2007, I won the Award of Courage. My family was interviewed by local newspapers. One of the questions they asked my brothers was, "Why do you think your sister is special?" They said, "We treat her the same as any other siblings." This shows that my parents modeled to treat each one of us the same and held us to the same standards. My parents did not treat me any different than my other siblings. For example, I had to do the same chores and they held us to the same consequences. It is important to treat your child with disabilities no different from other siblings and to have high expectations for them.
Right. Right. My parents were very much the same. They expected us to all go to school. We had to do well in school. I had to go to college. Had to graduate college, which of course we all did. And they just had standards, and we had to meet them, right? And you did too. That's great. Although I noticed earlier when you were talking about you and your family would argue, you two fists bumping. That didn't look like an argument. That was a fight where I come from. Was there more of a fight than that? Okay, all right. Just want to make sure your parents are okay, right? I don't need to send help. You didn't beat them up to leave home. Okay, I just want to make sure. One of the things I wanted to show today, I just met Molly a couple of days ago, and we sat and talked for a while, and she had me laughing a lot, and we were taking kind of lighter tone with this because I want you to know that people who do have differences can also laugh about it and have a healthy attitude about it. She doesn't feel that she's somehow not complete because she doesn't talk. And I certainly don't think she is either. She can express herself very well. And can get loud if I try to, or speak her. So I really have enjoyed meeting Molly. And I think if you invited her to speak to your group, you'd benefit from her. And not to overplug, but if you need me, I'd like to do the same. So
Shameless.
Yeah, I know I am shameless. I am shameless, but Christmas is coming and my children are just starving to death. That's not true. We're all fat, but that's okay. But I love them anyway. And I thank you for joining us again today for Harmon Speaks. It's been a lot of fun talking to Molly. I hope you've enjoyed it as well. Let us know if you have any questions, or if you want one of us to speak, or if you wanted my book, or whatever it is we can do to help you. Shameless. Man's got to make a living. Thank you for joining. Please like the video, share the videos, please subscribe, and please keep us on the air because we're trying to bring you good things, and I hope we do. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you soon. This video is brought to you by my new book, A Clown in Cobwebs, author's name Walt Nelson. Please feel free to get a copy of that at Amazon.com or authorhouse.com, or contact me by my website and I'll help you find that. It's a memoir about my life with my father and teaching him how to understand and accept my physical differences. Please give the book a try. Thank you.